The opportunity is right there for Penn State, and it is golden. Going on the road to face the third-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes on Saturday afternoon. And Penn State can do it, and they can do it because of their defense.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
This is game one in a 3-game series of absolute knockdown, drag-out fights between these Big Ten East powerhouses. And when you talk about these 3 Big Ten East powerhouses, 2 of them, of course, facing off when Penn State goes into Columbus in the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State this Saturday. They have the top 3 scoring defenses in all of college football. Michigan's first, and then you have the Nittany Lions, and then you have the Buckeyes. Penn State and Ohio State, second and third in the country in scoring defense, have combined for an allowed 17.67 points per game on average. If you combine them, that's good enough for 21st in the country. Defense is the name of the game on Saturday between Penn State and Ohio State. If you think this game's going to be scored in the 40s, if you think even this game's going to be scored in the 30s, you might have another thing coming. Because the better defense, who plays defense better, is going to win between the Nittany Lions and the Buckeyes. One big storyline entering this game is the injuries that Ohio State had. Remember last season when they were really banged up and they nearly got to a national championship game despite some of those injuries? This year's story is just a little bit different. Travion Henderson, their leading rusher, has not played the last 2 games against Maryland and against Purdue. Mayan Williams, kind of number 2 in that room, did not play against the Boilermakers. So you're trotting out Chip Trainum, you're trotting out Dallin Hayden. It's not the best run game in the world. This Ohio State offensive line has taken steps back from where they were, right? From having 2 NFL players on the row line last season. So that's a big question. Man, Manny Diaz has done a great job coaching as a defensive coordinator throughout his career. But this might be his best work as a coach at any level and in any position that he's had throughout his tenure. What he's done with Penn State, making them arguably the best defense in all of college football, has been fantastic. And Ohio State is going to have some troubles. They're going to have some questions to be answered because Penn State is going to attack them in this football game. I believe that this is the perfect recipe for Penn State to slow down and maybe even shut down the Ohio State run game. You factor in where Penn State is on defense. They are second in the country in rushing defense right now, giving up right around 72.5 yards per game. Ohio State's offensive line has taken a step back. There's injuries in the backfield, and this is a Buckeye team that is 9th in the Big Ten in running the football, right around 135 yards per game. Manny Diaz has done a tremendous job, and I think this part of the football game really leans into what Penn State wants to do. You look at the last 2 games for Ohio State. Maryland actually outrushed Ohio State despite the Buckeyes winning by 20. Yes, I know Ohio State threw the ball well. Last game against Purdue, Ohio State did not have a 100-yard rusher, but the Purdue Boilermakers did, and they only rushed for about 150 yards or so against this team. Look, I understand Ohio State is throwing the ball better and getting maybe back to where Ohio State wants to be in terms of play calling, pass versus run kind of a deal, but you need to be balanced against this Penn State team. And right now, I just don't know if Ohio State has the horses in the backfield. I don't know if they have the horses on the offensive line to compete with the elite defense on the other side that is the Nittany Lions. You go to the flip side, and it seems like advantage Penn State yet again. This is a Nittany Lions program that has the top rushing offense in the Big Ten Conference right now. They're averaging right around 203 yards per game, and it is a methodical and balanced run game. Last year, you saw a lot of big, explosive plays from Nicholas Singleton in this run game, but you're seeing a lot more Katron Allen this season as well, and you've got 2 guys. They are 10th and 11th right now in rushing yards in the Big Ten. And I can confidently say, talent-wise, these are not running backs number 10 and number 11 in the Big Ten Conference right now. This offensive line just keeps on getting better and getting better and getting better. And then I look at the other side. I look at the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is an Ohio State front that gave up 170 yards rushing to guys like Audric Estime and Jeremiah Love against Notre Dame, especially in the second half of that game. Notre Dame was able to run the football a little bit more. That kind of goes into what we're saying about maybe how Penn State wants to wear you down as this team kind of goes through. This Buckeyes team, look, they played Notre Dame. I get that was a physical close win, and that with the more time that goes by, that win looks a little bit less impressive considering how things went down in South Bend. But Ohio State, they haven't faced a front. They haven't faced backs. They haven't faced a run game quite like Penn State so far this season. You know what's crazy about Nicholas Singleton and Kaytron Allen? Only one time has either of them rushed for over 100 yards. That was Kaytron Allen just getting over the century mark against the Blue Hens of Delaware. That just goes to show you, when you have the top rushing offense in the Big Ten and only one time either of those guys has gotten over 100 yards, it just shows you how balanced that this run game is. Oh, and you throw in Trey Potts, that's been involved in there as well. Although these are two absolutely great defense, as good as there is in the country in all of college football, these are two offenses that do a great job protecting the football right now. Penn State and Ohio State have combined for 8 turnovers this season. They are the two best teams in that category in the Big Ten. The two best teams in terms of taking care of the football right now. Those defenses, and I think turnovers is going to be a big part of this one. It'd be very difficult for me to see this game going all the way through with the talent on the defensive side of the football. This game going all the way through and not one turnover is to be had. Which team can get the other team out of their comfort zone where they're able to get in there, where they're able to force turnovers? You look at Penn State this season, they have forced 13 turnovers this season. They are tied with Maryland for the most in the Big Ten. When I look at this thing from 10,000 feet above, when I look at this thing from an overall standpoint, I just think Penn State's the better football team in a lot of areas. Outside of the wide receiver position, I think Penn State's got a better defense. I think Penn State's better at getting after the quarterback. I think that they got better play at linebacker right now. Secondary, I think, is better in terms of Penn State. I think they're better at the quarterback position. Okay, Kyle McCord is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a great quarterback right now, but I look at Drew Allar. I look at some of the throws that he makes. I look at the arm power. I look at the arm strength. I look at the accuracy. I look at all of that, and he just makes great throw after great throw. I think from a national perspective, Drew Allar's very underrated right now. I firmly believe that. Yet to turn the football over, that needs to mean something right now. And I think he's doing great things. Even though his pass catchers, even though his wide receivers aren't the best in the world, they're certainly not where Ohio State is in terms of talent, but he's still making plays in this pass game. I look at the run game. I look at the offensive line, and to me, it's more notches in the belt. To me, it's more boxes being checked right now from the Penn State Nittany Lions. Last year's matchup can kind of be very telling in terms of this year's matchup as well. Remember, we talk about this Ohio State run game. The Buckeyes rushed for only 98 yards in that game, but they were able to get the win. Now, this was a close back and forth game going into the fourth quarter. And then JT Tuimoloau happened. What a fantastic game he had as well. You had CJ Stroud on the other side of the coin. Sean Clifford threw 3 interceptions. If you don't have JTT go absolutely crazy and you don't have CJ Stroud, this may be a Penn State upset. Okay, JTT has not been as maybe outstanding, hasn't played at that type of level so far this season. Penn State's got a better quarterback this season. I'm sorry, but Kyle McCord is not CJ Stroud. I think a lot of things really work towards Penn State's advantage in this game. This is not going to be a high-scoring game, folks. It's not. These are two of the best defenses in the entire country, and I think that really fits in to what Penn State wants to do. Penn State is a better football team up front in the offensive line. Penn State is a better football team running the ball. And in a game where maybe points may be at a little bit more of a premium, this is a system, this is a scheme that I think really fits into what Penn State wants to do. Because if Ohio State can't run the football against this great Penn State run defense. And they throw the ball a lot, and we know all about the pass rushers for Penn State, and we know all about the tackles for Ohio State. That matchup favors the Nittany Lions once again. It's just, I break this one down further and further and further by position group, by matchup, and it just seems to favor the Penn State Nittany Lions. Going on the road is going to be no easy task. This is an opportunity that Penn State asked for. They probably have overall, like I said, from 10,000 feet, the more talented team. And they are the healthier team going into this matchup. But this is a big time test for the Penn State Nittany Lions. We are going to find out to see if Penn State is that elite team. Are they at the level of a Michigan? Are they at the level of Ohio State? If they can go into the horseshoe and win and play their type of game and win their type of style of game, you have to recognize Penn State right now. I'm so excited for this contest so far. I know there's going to be bigger and badder games kind of later on down the road, but so far this is the game of the year in terms of anticipation so far. In the Big Ten, I think Penn State holds the advantages in a lot of categories. What do you guys think? Do you think Ohio State can throw the ball against this Penn State defense? Do they need an effective run game, or is their pass game good enough right now to beat Penn State? And what would it mean for Penn State to get this win on the road in Columbus? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.